Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of How to Play the Game. As always, I'm Jeff. We're going to be talking today about Counterplay. To do that, to illustrate that point, we're going to be hopping into one of the best possible examples, which is the draft of a professional Dota 2 game. Um, this is beginning of the year, the information is out of date, patches, updates, a change to the draft order as well. But this is a really great example that is going to display a very particular set of concepts here. So we're going to run this one through muted, and we'll talk through the points. One of the one of the important things actually in this, right, are the bands, which you can barely see under this slider here, which will hopefully go away as soon as I get into the actual game, or the video. But the opening bands, right? Each team gets two bands, and then there's first pick, second pick gets to pick two. So generally, they want to set themselves up with a strong pairing, and then the first pick gets the last pick of the phase, and then they go back into bands. The first bands are always either heavy specialties of the enemy team or the most broken hero of the patch. Now, the team who's first picking is under less pressure to ban the best heroes. Generally, what they do is they ban the best counters to that hero. Anything that you can pick right away is either not that relevant to the overall game plan, it's just super well rounded, or it's so good that there's not really counterplay. Here, Team Liquid ban Io, which is a specialty of Gaming Gladiators, and they ban Nature's Prophet, which is the second best carry in the meta. The best is Alina. Gaming Gladiators ban Tusk, which is a specialty of Team Liquid, and they ban Lina, which is the best carry in the meta. It's so good, nothing seems to be able to stop it except sometimes Nature's Prophet. Um, and that is because Team Liquid is first pick. So what you'll see here in the beginning phases, they just want to set themselves up for success. And this is very true in any game. You don't want to get countered right away. So Team Liquid are going to take one of the other strongest heroes in the game. They're going to take the Broodmother. It's something that's very hard to shut down. Its counters don't really prevent it from playing the game or having the game at once or having impact. It's something that's really difficult to stop, and that's where you start in a series like this, in a draft like this. When you're vulnerable to counterplay, you want to start with something that's going to be hard to stop entirely. If you open up with something that's really easy to hard counter, well, then the enemy team has lots of time to set up a good counter strat, and then they'll be playing a well-rounded composition, and you'll be playing 4/5 of a well-rounded composition, or maybe not a well-rounded composition because you're missing a key component, right? Um, your first phase picks are just so important. Still relatively true in new drafting meta, but this is true in anything that you do, right? Your first plays, your beginning plays, those are your highest risk plays. Um, they have to be well rounded, right? They have to be really well rounded. And as you saw, because we already had a ban phase, they were already considering, well, what are the counterplays to this, right? Nature's Prophet and Lena would both dunk all over Broodmother. Great, great, great hero, not quite on the level of those two. Um, so they were already preemptively thinking, all right, what's going to stop this? What's super, super good? Let's eliminate that from the equation. Gaming Gladiators think for a long time, burning deep into their reserve time, and they pick up what is just a really strong lane. These are two heroes that are really good, that aren't really so good you want to hard counter them, and they're not easy to hard counter either. They're just well-rounded, stable, solid. They bring a lot to the table. They're not very exploitable. Um, and then we're going to see here, right, because Liquid only get one pick, so they also want to pick something that's kind of in the same boat. If Gaming Gladiators had exposed themselves with something that was really easily countered, Liquid could have snatched up a pick that would shut that down, because here each team gets 3 bans, so you get to protect whatever you pick last on your phase. really nicely. Liquid may have kind of fumbled this one here. What they're thinking is, hey, we just want to pick something up that's really well rounded, but because they get 3 bans, they could have picked something up that really um, is kind of vulnerable because they could eliminate a lot of the counterplay to that. Um, they want to support in the beginning. They don't want to just pick up all their cores because then they can all get countered. Uh, they want something that's stable and really good. Treant Protector is very good at the moment in time that this game is being played, so they go with that. It makes sense. Gaming Gladiators are really thinking about this one. They're really cooking pretty hard over here. Um, Liquid, they knew, man. They were like, we don't want to play against Batrider. We don't want to play against Slark. We don't want to play against Crystal Maiden. These are all heroes that are really good against Broodmother. Now, Broodmother's probably good enough that you probably don't need to ban those things, but those are the counterplays to Broodmother that would still be good in the game that Liquid won't necessarily have direct answers to. Gaming Gladiators are going to get the first pick out of this phase, so they're going to get to ban this hero, and then they're going to get to pick one, and Liquid are going to get to pick up 2 heroes back to back, which leaves them with 4 out of their 5 heroes exposed. And they've yet to pick up a carry, which is why all these bans are what they are. So Gaming Gladiators pick up another support. It's a very well-rounded, not super easily exploitable character because now Liquid, if they were to punish counter, like if they were going to go for some kind of counterplay, this is when they would need to do it. But because it's 2 picks together, what they should do is they should pick a strong pairing that's difficult to shut down because Gladiators are going to get the last pick of the phase here, right? So Gladiators will have 4 out of 5 heroes shown information. They'll have 3 of their own heroes. They'll have a lot of info to make a really well-educated pick and try and counter what Team Liquid is doing. And that's where, you know, you kind of have to really hedge your bets at this stage of the proceedings here as Team Liquid. You want to try and punish anything that's on the table because you see that you're not going to really get better information than this because of them being first pick. Like, this is one of the spots where they get the best information, but you also don't want to leave yourself really exposed, right? So they decided what carry they want to play. They grab that. It's just a really good, stable, safe carry. It's great in the late game. It scales really hard. They're just playing something that's really well-rounded right now. As a first pick team, as the team kind of supposed to be setting the tempo for the game, they're going for very safe picks. They probably overbanned their first pick, to be honest. You generally want to pick something that's so strong you don't have to ban for it. And they end up going with this Dark Willow, which isn't super good in the patch. I think they did pick something that's so good you don't really have to ban for it, by the way. I think that the Brood is good enough that you don't need all of these bans that they've gone with. The Crystal Maiden ban probably could have been something a little bit better. But they had that counterplay in mind. They were aware of the counter potential here. Gaming Gladiators go with Pudge. It's an okay carry. It provides good utility. At this point, right, they can't really be countered, but they've banned out 4 carries. Liquid have banned out 2 carries and picked one of their own. The pool is getting small of viable carries, so they go ahead and grab theirs for that reason. Also because they don't see the mid matchup, that 1v1 lane that happens in the middle of the map, and they don't want to get counterpicked there, right? Like, they really, you know, they don't want to grab their mid and then Team Liquid pick up a really strong counter pick, and then, you know, maybe you get a great carry. You probably don't. And, you know, you just get dunked on in the 1v1 lane. That's really not good. That's really maybe the worst thing that can happen is that your 1v1 lane gets absolutely trashed on because then, you know, you're just at a serious disadvantage. You got one guy who's playing a huge, awesome scaling hero that's just going crazy on the map because he had the easiest win condition and then met it. Liquid are banning out some of just the comfort picks, some of the strong heroes for Gaming Gladiators. Leshrac pretty good against Dark Willow. He can kill her in her ultimate, which is not really an invulnerable save. It's, clearly because he can kill her in it, but it is a save. It is like a phase out of reality kind of thing. Um, so they're trying to protect themselves a little bit here by eliminating some of the run at you characters. Kunkka and Leshrac are both really good against the supports of the opposing teams. Leshrac would totally dunk all over Treant Protector's main utility as well. So they just want to, again, just thinking about that counterplay. What could go wrong, right? This is what we're going to do to win. They have an idea of what they want to do to win. Both teams do. And the question is, what could go wrong for us? What could go wrong? Oh, our supports just get clapped by a Kunkka in mid. Alright, banned. What could go wrong? Oh, Leshrac just runs at our carry and makes both of our supports worthless and just nukes all of our spiders. Banned, right? They're able to take those out directly. Most games you're not able to do that. Most games you have to just be prepared in your gameplay. And then there's games like Overwatch where you cycle through heroes, and so you end up at just this meta point where it's like this could counter that, but it's so easily countered by this other thing that we're just all neutral. And here we arrive at the end. The last two bans were pretty mediocre, but what happens here is super interesting. And this is really why we're looking at this game in particular. Liquid's bans. I gotta pause it. We gotta talk about this because this is the important part, right? Liquid ban Templar Assassin. It's just a really good hard scaling carrying mid. It would outscale the Drow Ranger. It could end up making the game nearly impossible for Liquid to play. They ban it out. Liquid don't really have any solid catch, any hey we've got you kind of hero. So that's why Gaming Gladiators bans out the Tiny. They're both thinking, all right, what does the other team need? What counters us? What shuts us down? Gaming Gladiators don't want Liquid to get good catch. That's what they've identified as a weakness for them, and a weakness for Liquid is, well, it's on their draft. Liquid are like, we don't want anything that can just run and fight at us. We want them to not have that on the table. So they ban all these things outright. And they pick Ember Spirit, which is a very, again, Gaming Gladiators are going to have last pick, so Ember Spirit is a very safe, well-rounded character who does a lot for the team in terms of, aggression, damage. He's got a root. It provides a bunch of utility and a bunch of just good, solid carry potential, and there's not a lot of bad lane matchups. But at this point, everybody's been banning carries up until the very end. And so, Gaming Gladiators pick up the absolute heaviest, hardest, baddest, meanest counter to Ember Spirit in the whole game of Dota 2. And just Fortnite dance on him. They just dunk all over him. They run out the clock in these drafts, by the way, so that they can have time to talk before the game. But yeah, if I felt safe sharing the audio with you, I would. But the casters are just like, yep, game's over. GG, go next. The matchup is so bad that Nisha on the Ember Spirit basically can't win his lane, which means that Liquid are practically playing a 4v5, and it's even worse because, of course, the opposing team's mid laner is going to gain everything that your mid laner loses. Throughout the whole draft, right? The whole draft is an exercise in, like, we're going to pick this and we're going to ban that because that's the thing that could go wrong. We're going to establish a win condition. We're going to establish support for that win condition. And then we're going to ban the things that could disrupt it. That's the whole point of a draft. Back and forth, both sides, both teams, just from a slightly different position. First versus second pick, whatnot. And then right at the very end, when they could have had a really, like, a challenging game versus a Templar Assassin, but not an unplayable game, they ban it, and Quinn plays Huskar, and the game is absolutely unplayable, and they get totally trashed on. It's not even a very long game. They do have some of the best characters are just stalling the game out, but it's not close. I'm just trying to get the scoreboard here at the end. "15 kills, 15 assists, 2 deaths for the Huskar. 76.9% kill participation. Highest net worth in the game, highest hero damage in the game. Highest gold per minute in the game, highest experience per minute in the game." I mean, he was completely and utterly unanswered. That is not how that works. I can't get my crop in mid-recording, can I? Oh well. That's very sad, but it's okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, match MVP. He just dominated. It was the one thing that could have gone wrong. And a slight oversight made a game that was going to be hard fought but very winnable for Liquid just not winnable at all. Now, anybody who follows Dota knows that Liquid and Gaming Gladiators have developed a history over the course of 2023. This is the very beginning of 2023, and Liquid wins this series 2-1. Liquid actually beats Gaming Gladiators twice out of the 3 DPC seasons. They just can't seem to beat them in playoffs of tournaments. So yeah, let this be a lesson to all of you guys. When you're planning to do something, right, establish a clear victory. Establish how you're going to win the game. Build your support structure around that. But always be aware what could go wrong, so that you don't get last pick countered. Hey, we're going to 5-man C-Long. Well, what could go wrong? Oh, they're just all standing here ready to dump utility onto us in C-Long of Haven. Hey, I'm going to do a triple CC build. Well, what could go wrong? Oh, yeah, he goes 1-1 roach timing and just runs me over before my economy kicks off. There's always something that's going to just dunk on you. Be prepared for that thing. That one thing. Anyways, look forward to the next video. Next video, we're going to be talking about information. Giving it, receiving it. What that means. Because we don't play chess, we play esports. So all esports games are games of information. Look forward to seeing you there. As always, leave comments down below if you have any questions. Be sure to like and subscribe for a continuation of the series and Cataclysm Gaming as a whole. And yeah, see you next time.